As to count one, aggravated murder in violation of 290301A, an unclassified felony. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Count two, aggravated murder in violation of 290301A, an unclassified felony. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Chad Doerman, the man who hunted down his 3 young sons on a summer day and shot them to death, pleads guilty.
He will die in prison.
The nightmare of attending court proceedings for the boy's family is over. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Chad Doerman will spend the rest of his life in prison. He has now admitted, after nearly 14 months, that he came home from work early on June 15th of last year and shot his 3 little boys. Clayton was just 7 years old, Hunter was 4, and Chase was 3. Clayton and Hunter played baseball in Claremont County, Ohio, east of Cincinnati. The boys' obituaries said that Chase one day wanted to play baseball just like his big brothers. Most little boys worship their fathers, and the Doerman boys were probably no different. But on that sunny summer day last summer, Chad Doerman committed the ultimate act of betrayal. He came home early from work, grabbed a Bible, and walked around the house mumbling, "Chad knows what's right." He was scaring his then wife as he tried to get into the gun safe in their bedroom. Doerman, according to court records, told her he was kidding. She was worried, so she and one of the boys laid down in bed with him. And then Doerman started shooting. Doerman's wife tried to save her boys, as did her older daughter, Doerman's stepdaughter. Doerman's now ex-wife grabbed the barrel of the gun, and he shot her through the thumb. She tried to get one of her boys to run, but the boy could not get away fast enough. Clayton, Chase, and Hunter's mom and sister could not stop the slaughter.
My daughter, she ran over to the fire department.
Sit down.
It's my stepdaughter.
Put him in the cage.
Doerman was taken away by sheriff's deputies.
Can you get the wallet out of my back pocket?
Shut up, dude. You had the right to remain silent.
There was little question that Doerman had committed these crimes, but he was innocent until proven guilty, as anyone else charged with a crime would be. Claremont County Prosecutor Mark Tacalvi announced his intent to seek the death penalty.
My goal was to have this man executed for slaughtering these 3 little boys.
But then Doerman's statement to law enforcement was suppressed because he had asked for a lawyer, and a detective continued to question him anyway. After that ruling from the judge, Doerman changed his plea to not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. He had essentially said he pulled the trigger, but didn't know what he was doing was wrong at the time because of mental illness.
And we're here this afternoon because I have been advised that a plea agreement has been reached in this matter.
That brings us to today, and Doerman pleading guilty to the aggravated murder of his 3 little boys.
As to count one, aggravated murder in violation of 290301A, an unclassified felony. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Count two, aggravated murder in violation of 290301A, an unclassified felony. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Count three, aggravated murder in violation of 290301A, an unclassified felony. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Prosecutor Mark Tacalvi outlined what Doerman did on June 15th of last year.
The defendant did purposely and with prior calculation and design cause the death of his 3 children, Clayton Doerman, age 7, Hunter Doerman, age 4, and Chase Doerman, age 3. On that date, Judge, June 15, 2023, the defendant returned home early from work and had his family, including his wife, Laura Doerman, with him. All 3 of the boys joined him in the master bedroom for a nap. At some point after lying down with the 4 of them, the defendant got out of bed, opened a gun safe that was next to the bed, removed a Marlin Model HC-22 rifle from the gun safe and loaded the magazine. The defendant shot his son, Hunter Doerman, twice. While in the bedroom, his wife, Laura, began to render aid to Hunter and yelled for the other children to run. Laura's 14-year-old daughter, Alexis, who had been watching television in the family room, made her way to the master bedroom and witnessed the killing of Hunter. Alexis immediately began to run and indicated that Clayton had fled out the back door, and that Chad Doerman was following Clayton. She ran to help to try to protect Clayton.
Colvey then described what happened outside of the home.
The three of them go out the back door. Clayton's first, then there's the defendant, and then Alexis. Alexis witnesses the defendant chase after Clayton, raised his rifle, fired numerous shots at Clayton as he fled, and saw Clayton fall in the field after he was struck by the gunfire. Alexis then watched as the defendant approached Clayton while he's injured, lying on the ground, defenseless, and saw the defendant put a bullet in Clayton's head, killing him.
Colvey said Laura Doerman then tried to save her baby, 3-year-old Chase.
Laura and the defendant struggled over the weapon. Laura was bitten as she tried to protect Chase from the defendant. The defendant bit her. She put her thumb over the end of the barrel in an effort to stop the bullet. She was shot in the thumb. Ultimately, she had to drop Chase. During this point in time, the defendant was able to reload the firearm. He pointed the gun at Chase's head and executed him, one round to his skull.
Unfortunately, the world is not always a safe place, and when accidents happen, you may need an attorney that's going to fight for you and stand up for your rights. That's why I want to tell you about Morgan & Morgan, a sponsor of Crime Fix. Morgan & Morgan has more than 1,000 attorneys that you may want in your corner because they are America's largest injury law firm, and for a good reason. They win a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean they win a lot. Morgan & Morgan has won several multi-million-dollar verdicts and settlements recently for victims who were in life-altering car crashes, all of which were considerably higher than the highest insurance company offer. Starting a claim takes 8 clicks or less, and it can all be done from your smartphone. And there are no upfront fees. You only pay Morgan & Morgan if you win. So if you're injured, you can easily start a claim in 8 clicks or less at forthepeople.com/crimefix. Doerman also pleaded guilty to 2 counts of felonious assault for harming both Laura and Alexis. Then Doerman's stepdaughter, Alexis Skeen, came into the courtroom. The judge ordered that she and her mother not be shown on camera. Alexis stared at Doerman as the prosecutor, Laura Barone Allen, read her statement.
Ever since what you've done, my life has been something I would never wish upon any family. It is the most heartbreaking and emotional thing anyone could go through. Chad, I miss you and I miss the boys dearly, and nothing will ever be the same again because of you. Whenever something exciting happens, I always just want to tell you because I know you would be so proud of me. Softball to me isn't the same anymore because that was our sport, and that was the boys' sport. You made me an amazing ball player, and whenever I play softball, there isn't one game where I don't think about you. And whenever I get a good hit or I learn a new pitch, I always wish I could tell you, because I know you would be so proud of me. And when good things like that happen, it sucks to look on the sideline and not see you be there, and for the boys not to be cheering me on like they always did. And Chad, I still work very hard on my grades, and I was on the honor roll this past year. And I know for a fact, if you were there to see it, you would be so happy for me because my grades have always been so important to me. Another thing that has impacted me was every single holiday. Waking up on Christmas isn't the same anymore. I don't get excited. I don't even look forward to having presents because it's not the same. I don't get to wake up early and wake the boys up. I don't get to hide the elf. I don't get to do any of the fun stuff anymore because they're gone and you took their lives. And Chad, when you go to bed every single night, I want you to know that when you took those 3 boys' lives away, you took mine and you took my mom's. Chad, I don't think you understand how hard it is to wake up every day and to see my friends and people around me have siblings, and to hear them talk about what they did with their siblings that day, or how much they enjoy having a brother. Because deep down, that hurts me so badly and so emotionally, because it hurts to know I will never get to experience another day with my 3 brothers, or to make any memories anymore, because their innocent lives were taken away so quickly and horribly by their own father.
The prosecutor then read the statement of Laura Doerman, Chad Doerman's now ex-wife, the mother of Clayton, Hunter, and Chase, who desperately tried to save her boys' lives.
My life was changed forever. My life was ripped away from me and destroyed. Since that day, I have spent every day grieving the loss of my 3 sweet, so very little sons. I grieve the loss of Clayton, Hunter, and Chase every single day, and I grieve the life that they did not get to live. I no longer get to raise them and watch them grow. I miss each one of them so very much. I miss their laughter, silliness, love, and joy for life. Where there used to be so much laughter, happiness, noise of rowdy little boys, there is now silence and emptiness. I would do anything to push them on the swing, cover them up one more time, and hear their little ways of saying, "I love you." All of it gone when I should have had so much more life left to live with them. I ask myself how a mother is supposed to carry on a life as a mom with 1 child left here on earth and 3 gone forever. I struggle every day with the will to get up or give up. Life for me is the true pain and suffering. I will never agree to think that any form of punishment could amount to the form of torture and suffering I have to endure each day, such as seeing children and seeing siblings together as I watch Alexis be without her brothers, and seeing families together as I no longer have mine. Having to live a life where I'm visiting the same places I once was with Clayton, Hunter, and Chase all together. Traveling in the car and no longer seeing them in the rearview mirror. This also includes our family home that holds so many memories that I cannot let go of. But now it's just devastating to face. Again, so empty and quiet. I was injured that day, fighting with every ounce of my body to just make it stop. I struggle every day, knowing I was not successful in doing so. And now I have to live with this and wonder what more I could have done to save them.
Laura Doerman has asked that the media not contact her or her family. She wants people to talk about her 3 boys for who they were before they were murdered. In a statement she wrote, "Remember them as 3 little boys who loved fishing, go-karting, and swimming. Remember them as the little boys who were always at the baseball fields or running around outside. Remember them as the boys who loved to have fun and were inseparable from one another. Their lives are not about what happened to them. They are so much more than that." Doerman's lawyer then spoke on his behalf.
With acknowledgement of the pain and the suffering and the fact that these 3 beautiful boys are gone, Chad would never have done that, except that he was delusional, he was in psychosis when this happened. All 3 psychologists basically acknowledged that. Dr. Dreyer acknowledged it. They don't agree on whether it qualifies as long enough for serious mental illness or whether he had some appreciation of the legal wrongfulness of what he did. But the fact is, he loved those boys more than anything. And he was ill. He was sick, profoundly sick at the time. There's nothing more he can say at this point except that he's sorry about that. He did it. He acknowledges that. He's taken responsibility for it. He can't bring those boys back to do anything to do it. I think he would wish that he stayed at the little clinic for a little longer than he did. I think he wished that, in hindsight, he signs there before this happened. Tried to power through it. He wouldn't do that again. And until it was too late, he couldn't. It was out of control.
Anything further on
Sorry
behalf?
for that. No.
Mr. Doerman, is there anything you want to say on your own behalf before I impose sentence? No? Mr. Doerman, as to count one, I'll impose a prison sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. No fine will be imposed. As to count two, it'll be a life prison term without the chance of parole. And count three, it'll be life in prison without the possibility of parole. These three counts and these three sentences will be served consecutively with one another.
Prosecutor Tacalvi explained why he agreed to this plea deal after being so adamant early on that he would seek the death penalty against Doerman.
The defense approached us Tuesday morning and inquired about life without parole. We brought in Laura the next morning, Wednesday morning, and had a very lengthy discussion with her. I cannot state to any level of significance the inordinate trauma that she has experienced. We have met with her 6 or 8 times, and it is painful to her. It is difficult for my assistant prosecutors, difficult for hardened, seasoned law enforcement. And my position became fairly clear to me throughout this process, and most recently Wednesday when we discussed this plea offer with Laura, that doing anything further would be actually an act of cruelty towards her. We had prepared her to testify. She was ready to testify next week. Alexis was ready to testify. But the trauma that these two experienced that day and continue to experience on a daily basis. My job, as I saw it this week, was to relieve them of that additional agony.
Tacalvi and other people on the prosecution team plan to release more information about the investigation during a press conference on Monday to reveal what he says was going on behind the scenes at the time that the murders occurred. That's it for Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.